The Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of America People's Trade Treaty ALBA-TCP holds its 18th summit virtually with leaders and heads of government. A nurse in New York became the first person in the United States to receive the coronavirus vaccine on Monday. Ivory Coast incumbent President Alassane Outtara is sworn in for a third mandate. From the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South. I'm Gladys Quesada. The Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of America People's Trade Treaty ALBA-TCP holds its 18th summit virtually with leaders and heads of government. The summit is held in the 16th anniversary of the alliance and will be chaired by the President of Cuba, Miguel Díaz-Canel Bermúdez. The multilateral meeting will be virtually attended by presidents and delegates of the international group. The bloc plans to address the current state of diplomatic relations, the progress of treaties, and the cooperation regarding the fight against COVID-19. In that sense, they intend to strengthen the ideals of solidarity and regional integration for post-pandemic economic and social development. And Cuba proposed to Russia a joint research to produce medicines to treat COVID-19. The initiative presented by Havana to Moscow aims to jointly develop medicines for the treatment of COVID-19 patients. The proposal includes the participation of pharmaceutical companies from each country. Official reports indicated that both countries will discuss the project during the Russian-Cuban Intergovernmental Commission scheduled before the end of the year in Havana. Guatemala's human rights attorney Jordan Rodas Andrade spoke out this Sunday on the murder of Abelardo Quechim, an indigenous activist of the Quechua people, which occurred on December 6. He asked the authorities for a serious and urgent investigation of this crime. The indigenous activist and human rights defender worked as the auxiliary major of the Nueva Gloria farmhouse in the municipality of Purulá in Baja Verapaz, where an eviction order was issued and where he was the target of threats from armed groups. In the face of this crime, Rodas Andrade directly asked the President Alejandro Giammattei to open a dialogue with the Quechua community and offer them a safe place and adequate living conditions. Finally, he asked the state security agencies to guarantee the integrity of inhabitants of the Nueva Gloria hamlet and to dismantle the illegal armed groups that have attacked the residents. The National Service of Meteorology and Hydrology of Bolivia declared the orange alert for this Monday due to the increase of water levels in the different rivers of the country due to the effects of the rainy season. The measure seeks to avoid possible human and material damage in the affected areas. The meteorological alert indicates that moderate rains and electrical storms are predicted, temporarily strong, with accumulated amounts between 60 to 90 millimeters from the dawn of Monday until the afternoon of the same day. Affectations are expected in the regions of Andrés Ibáñez, Guarnes, Ischilo, Sara, Santi Esteban, and the south of Guarayos, while the strong precipitations will affect the localities of Chapare, north of Ayopaya, and Carrasco. It is also expected that the flooding of some rivers will impact populations of Santa Cruz, Cochabamba, and La Paz. Former President of Brazil, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, hopes to consolidate the dream of a great region in Latin America. During his presentation at the conference International Context and Challenges for Sovereign Foreign Policy, organized by the Patria Institute, Lula spoke about his experience with sovereign democracy in the region that must be get together again to form a strong bloc that allows political and economic negotiations. He also bet on a Latin America independent from any economic group and rejected the United States financing terrorism and destabilization activities in the sovereign countries of the region. In a few hours, the Argentinian Senate will start the discussions in order to elaborate an opinion that will serve the final debate on the bill of voluntary interruption of pregnancy, approved in the Chamber of Deputies last week. According to the working agenda, this week the Commissions of Women, Justice and Criminal Affairs and Health will hold their corresponding plenary sessions as scheduled for Monday to hear the opinions of the Minister of Health, Ginés González García, the Minister of Women, Gender and Diversity, Elizabeth Gómez Alcorta, and the President's Legal and Technical Secretary, Vilma Ibarra. The project that will allow the voluntary interruption of the pregnancy until the 14th week of gestation and also enables the conscientious objection of the professionals that do not want to carry out this medical practice comes with the quorum of the officialism and absolute majority in all the commissions. Nevertheless, there is a moderate optimism not to generate false expectations. And we are going now to Chile because this Sunday the country reported against the highest number of infections, surpassing the 2,000 cases in a single day. And they approached to 11,000 infected by the disease of the virus. The Ministry of Health confirmed 2,139 new cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours, a figure very similar to that of 3 months ago. Of these new patients, 1,427 were symptomatic and 684 asymptomatic, which raises the figure to 10,887 active cases in the country, for a total of 571,919 affected and 50,886 dead. The agency also detailed that there are 637 people in intensive care units, of which 463 are supported by mechanical ventilation, and 58 of them are in critical condition. And we'll go now to a short break, so don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. A nurse in New York became the first person in the United States to receive the coronavirus vaccine on Monday. Sandra Lindsay, a critical care nurse at the Long Island Jewish Medical Center, received the Pfizer-BioNTech shot live on television shortly before 9:30 a.m. Governor Andrew Cuomo, watching the landmark moment via video link, told Lindsay she hoped the vaccine will give her and other frontline healthcare workers a sense of security and safety. It's going to take months before the vaccine hits critical mass, so this is the light at the end of the tunnel, but it's a long tunnel, he said, reminding people to keep following social distancing guidelines. COVID-19 has ravaged the United States. More than 299,000 Americans have been killed by the virus, including over 35,000 residents of New York State. This Monday, the Electoral College in the U.S. gets together in all 50 states and the District of Columbia to certify the election results. This is usually a procedure hardly covered by new outlets, but as President Trump has called on Republican state legislatures in states he lost to throw out the popular vote results and appoint their own set of electors, this year it is a key step to elect a new president. The U.S. presidential election was 5 weeks ago, but when Americans go to the polls in presidential elections, they are not directly voting for president. They are actually voting for a group of 538 electors that make up the Electoral College. Each political party with a candidate on the presidential ballot nominates or votes on its own slate of electors in the month prior to election day. States have their own rules for choosing electors. A successful presidential candidate must get at least 270 out of the 538 votes that make up the Electoral College. If electors vote based on the certified results of their states, they will give Joe Biden 306 votes and Donald Trump 232, thus officially handing the presidency to the former vice president. The global number of confirmed COVID-19 cases surpassed 72.7 million, with the death toll reaching more than 1.6 million. The global number of COVID-19 cases has risen more and more quickly. It took around 6 months for the number to reach 10 million, while it took 20 days for the figure to rise from 40 to 50 million, and only 17 days from 50 to 60 million, and from 60 to 70 million. The US is the most affected nation by the pandemic, registering more than 16.7 million COVID-19 cases and over 300,000 deaths. The North American nation is followed by India and Brazil, with nearly 9.9 million and over 6.9 million infections respectively. This Monday, the German pharmacist CureVac announced the beginning of clinical trials of COVID-19 vaccine. With the official registration of the first participant of the decisive phase 2b/3 of the retroviral test against COVID-19, CureVac will gradually pass to phase 3, evaluating progressively and during 1 year the results of the injection. For this trial, more than 35,000 people over 18 years old have been called in Europe and Latin America. The German laboratory has been working on the immunology of COVID-19 since January 2020. The Minister of Health of Spain, Salvador Illa, announced his Monday that the first week of January will begin the process of immunization against COVID-19 in the country. Illa assured that once the European Agency of Medicine grants the permissions for the vaccine, the days will begin in Spain. The holder of health was foreseen that the vaccination process begins between the 4th or the 5th of January and aspires to have 140 million doses of Pfizer's laboratories. The sanitary personnel, as well as the population that has been more exposed to the pandemic, will be the first ones in receiving the vaccine, and it is expected to go gradually immunizing to the population for and at the end of August to have applied it to all the country. In France, a few hundred hotel and restaurant professionals gathered at the Place des Invalides in Paris to protest against the closure of their establishments from the end of October until January 20, 2020. However, the French Central Bank said Monday that it expects the country's economy to recover more slowly than previously and return to its pre-pandemic level only in mid-2022. Since then, France has been swept by a second wave of the novel coronavirus that prompted authorities to reintroduce restrictions on movement and the closure of certain business. That provoked an 11% drop in activity in November from the same month last year, with activity expected to be 8% lower in December given the partial relaxation of confinement measures adopted by the government for the holiday period. Despite the foreseen recovery in the economy, the Banque de France expects unemployment to jump higher as firms which have so far held on finally collapse. It expects unemployment to jump to 11% during the first quarter of 2021 and fall to 9% by the end of 2022. France's unemployment rate was around 8% using international survey methods before the pandemic hit Europe at the end of the first quarter. And European Union officials said on Monday there is a window of opportunity to work together with the US, China and Japan to fight climate change.
Moving towards COP26, and countries around the world are considering their level of ambition, climate and energy diplomacy will take center stage. Climate action is gathering momentum. China, South Korea, Japan and other countries have recently announced climate neutrality objectives. If the US makes a similar commitment, about 2/3 of the global economy and more than half of the world's emissions would be covered. With the incoming Biden administration, there is a real opportunity to create a genuine partnership on climate change and extend our work together to new years.
This Monday, several Google services presented operational problems worldwide. YouTube, Gmail, and Google Drive presented problems in their system worldwide. Users from the websites from different parts of the world reported through social media the unavailability of the services. Although the websites have been gradually restored, the reasons for the glitches are unknown. And we have more news coming up after the final short break, so stay with us. Ivory Coast incumbent President Alassane Outtara is sworn in for a third mandate. Outtara was declared the winner with more than 94% of the October 31st vote.
Devant le peuple souverain de Côte d'Ivoire.
Before the sovereign people of Ivory Coast, I solemnly swear on the honor to respect and faithfully defend the Constitution, to embody national unity, to ensure the continuity of the state and defend its territorial integrity, to protect the rights and freedoms of citizens, and to conscientiously fulfill the duties of my office in the higher interest of my nation. May the people withdraw their confidence in me, and may I suffer the rigor of the law if I betray my oath.
Rustam Muradov, commander of Russia's peacekeeping forces in Nagorno-Karabakh, confirmed reports of a ceasefire violation over the weekend between the Armenian and Azerbaijani sides. Muradov added that the violation had been averted by the actions of the Russian peacekeeping force, but did not specify which of the sides had violated the ceasefire. On Saturday, Armenian officials and Azerbaijan accused each other of breaching the peace deal that ended 6 weeks of fierce fighting between Nagorno-Karabakh. The new clashes marked the first significant breach of the peace deal brokered by Russia on November 10th that saw Azerbaijan reclaim control over broad swaths of Nagorno-Karabakh and surrounded lands which were held by Armenian forces for more than a quarter.
On December 11th, in the vicinity of the settlements Saber and Hintager of the Gadrut region, a violation of the ceasefire occurred. It was averted by the actions of the Russian peacekeeping force. The situation in the area has stabilized. Russian peacekeepers are constantly monitoring the situation and supporting communication with the Armenian and Azerbaijani sides.
And on Monday, tens of thousands of protesting rural workers called for a national strike in India, the second in a week, to press the government to revoke 3 new laws on agricultural reform. Rural workers say these new agricultural reforms will drive down crop prices and devastate their earnings. The farmers are camping along at least 5 major highways on the outskirts of New Delhi and have said they will not leave until the government rolls back what they call the black laws. They have blockaded highways leading to the capital for 3 weeks, and several rounds of talks with the Indian government have failed to produce any breakthroughs. Protest leaders have also planned a token hunger strike on Monday.
It's not a question whether we should protest or not. We have to protest. It's the government's responsibility to provide social benefits to people. And if they don't provide that, then people will have to come together to protest.
If the government doesn't agree, then we'll continue to sit here. We will not leave. Now is the government's ego and the question of our pride. We will not leave from here until our demands are met.
On Monday, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson said President Xi Jinping's speech at Saturday's Climate Ambition Summit demonstrated the country's firm determination to deal with climate change and embodied its sense of responsibility as a major country.
This speech reflects China's consistent stance of upholding unity, promoting cooperation, and firmly supporting multilateralism, as well as the comprehensive and effective implementation of the Paris Agreement. It demonstrates China's vision and sense of responsibility as a leader of a major country to promote the construction of a shared future for mankind. These proposals will guide the further advance of global climate governance. This is the first time that China has made major commitments on handling climate change after September 22nd, when President Xi announced China's vision to reach peak carbon emissions and go carbon neutral at the general debate of the 75th session of the United Nations General Assembly. It laid out a concrete blueprint for China to achieve peak carbon emissions and demonstrated China's firm determination to deal with climate change, as well as its sense of responsibility to keep its promise.
Indonesian police have arrested the man believed to be the military leader of Al-Qaeda-linked Jemaah Islamiyah network, who have eluded capture since 2003. According to National Police spokesperson Ahmad Ramadan, Aris Sumersono, known as Zulkarnain, was arrested late Thursday by counter-terrorism police without resistance in a raid at a house in East Lampung district on Sumatra Island. The National Police spokesperson said Zulkarnain is suspected of being involved in the making of bombs used in a series of attacks, including the 2002 Bali bombings that killed 202 people, mostly foreign tourists, and a 2003 attack on the JW Marriott Hotel in Jakarta that killed 12. The UN Security Council said that Zulkarnain was one of the Al-Qaeda's representatives in Southeast Asia and one of the few people in Indonesia who had direct contact with Bin Laden's network.
The mastermind behind the simultaneous bomb attack during Christmas Eve in 2000 and New Year's Eve in 2001, involved in the Bali bombing in 2002, involved in the first Marriott bombing in 2003, involved in the Australian embassy bombing in 2004, involved in the second Bali bombing in 2005, and has been a fugitive for 18 years. I can confirm that this person had been captured a few days ago. This person is the head of Askari Markaziya, an Al-Qaeda-linked militant group, and also served as military trainer in Afghanistan for 7 years. This person is also the mastermind behind the bomb attack at the Philippine embassy in Menteng area on August 1st, 2000.
And as forecasted, the total solar eclipse started its path in Argentina, where residents in the northern region of Patagonia observed the astronomical event that covered the sun for more than 2 minutes. With images of the phenomenon that will be absent until 2048 and will remain over the Argentine sky until 2:50 p.m., we have come to the end of this news brief. Just remember, you can find this and many more stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And also, if you feel so inclined, join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For TeleSUR English, thank you for watching.